Hi guys, welcome back to another video of mine. Welcome to the channel if you are new. Today we're going to be talking about things we'd do differently if we were to buy a house again or a new build again. Today we wanted to just put together a little list of a few things that we absolutely wouldn't do again, things that we wish we did. Okay, so the first one that we definitely wish we probably spent a little bit more time shopping around, actually trying them in person, is buying our sofa. I feel like we rushed into that. I will take ownership of that. I panicked because when you buy a sofa, it actually takes, I think, 12 weeks.
Yeah, it takes forever, doesn't it? So we didn't have one for a long time.
So we didn't have one. So we were panicking like, oh my God, we need to get a sofa quick. We probably would have chose something completely different, but we bought our sofa from Next. It served its purpose, it fit perfectly into the space, but we don't love the colour of it, and it's not the most comfortable of sofas, to be honest. I don't think I'd go back to Next again and buy one.
No, and we've been paying it off. We did the interest free over 4 years, so we're still paying it off. We still hate it.
Yeah.
It almost ruins, it almost makes going down there to watch TV, it ruins it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, you don't love it down there, do you? But yeah, it's not the greatest sofa, so I wish we probably just spent a little bit of time in the house, made do with some like deck chairs or something, just to actually find the perfect one. Not just that, I think we went into the shop once to sit on it and to try it.
And we just sat on it for a couple of minutes.
We didn't even sit on any others. We just sat on it for like a few minutes, and that was it. I feel like we just needed to shop around more, so that would be a big bit of advice.
Get used to the area a bit more. I mean, I know people want
people
get hung up, don't they, on wanting the place to be ready, perfect the minute they move in, but sometimes it backfires on you. I think it did for us. Okay,
so the next one is kind of similar to the sofa. We got some curtains put in our living room. I think we wanted to put some blinds in there, some shutter blinds or something like that, because it's a south-facing garden, so the sunlight comes right through into the living room, and if we want to watch the TV in the day and it's a sunny day, you can't see the TV. So you have to either shut the curtains and it looks like a big old dark miserable room because you've shut out all the daylight. So I think, we rushed to buy some cheap blackout curtains just to solve the issue, and now we're kind of like, I really wish we'd just hung fire a little bit, invested a little bit more money in those blinds, because then we still could have had a really nice cozy space with being able to see the TV at the same time.
It would have been paid off by now, wouldn't it?
I know.
And also I think we learnt quite late that you need to chase that solicitor all the time. Every time you need something, you just got to get them chased. For the first like 2 or 3 months, just nothing was happening. It was moving so slow, and then we chased them, and lo and behold, it started happening. Every time we sent something back that we signed, we chased it the next day, and it just moved. It moved like the last half of all of the tasks that they had to do went so much quicker than the first half, just because we started chasing. It makes so much of a difference.
Yeah, and I think we have said this before in a video, but on a Monday, chase what you're after. Don't wait till the end of that week to chase it. I would chase it on a Monday, and then if you've not heard anything on the Wednesday, you can then chase again or ring them up and really be on their case and say, look, I've not heard anything from you, it's now Wednesday. I know they get it from probably loads of people, and I know it probably does their absolute heads in, so I'm sorry if you're a solicitor watching, but it was a bane in our whole process. Okay, so the next one I've written down is could have negotiated a little harder on our property price. I actually did the negotiating for that because Sean was, I think you were on a stag.
I think so.
Right, yeah, and I rang you and I was like, I think we've got the house.
I rang me and said we bought a house.
Yeah, okay. I obviously had his permission beforehand.
It was news to me, you weren't even going out at that point.
Such a liar. But yeah, I think
we've been on 2 dates.
I probably could shut up. I'm trying to get my point out. I probably could have negotiated harder. And I think don't be afraid to do that, especially if you're buying a new build. You can definitely knock some money off. We did save some money, and they did very kindly let us put our stamp duty on top of our mortgage, because if they hadn't have let us do that, I said we can't afford to buy the property because of the stamp duty price. It has to be this price for us to do it. So I think I just backed away from negotiating a little bit more money off. But yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get is my motto for that. So
I've got a second-hand one, which is one of my mates, but it's worth bringing up. They put an offer in for a new build. They were deliberating, they were working out whether they wanted to do it. It was at the end of the week. They both met with his mum for coffee and just spoke about it. And all they spoke was how good and how positive and how much they wanted it. And at the end, the mum was like, what are you waiting for? It might be gone by now. Why? Like, you want to do it. don't wait.
Yeah,
I think
be quick.
don't overthink it. Once you've got in your gut that you want it and the financials work, don't waste your
don't
time
wait too long,
they do go pretty fast.
So following on from that, another thing I'd say is when you're negotiating, and obviously you can negotiate the price down, be aware that when you're walking around the show home, not all of those things come with the house when you buy it, which we have spoken about loads of times before, and I'm sure it's a teaching to suck eggs kind of comment. But if you're wanting that carpet, or you quite like that bed head that they've used from the ceiling to the floor, I know that the show home down there, the people that bought it negotiated that to be included in their house when they bought it. They said, well, this is a show home, we're not going to have access to this house for a while, loads of people have walked around it, we want that included. You can ask for those things to be included, so don't be afraid to negotiate that in.
And on that point, they do definitely, this is unproven, but I'm pretty sure that they have purpose-made furniture built to make it look bigger than it is, because when we walked into the main bedroom, which we're in now, there was a chest of drawers between the bed and the wall,
literally where we're looking right now.
And now when we tried to fit a chest of drawers in there, it's physically impossible. Like I don't know how it got us, but it basically looked like a proper set of chest of drawers.
They very cleverly used like clever furniture in there.
There must have been a real small one. So if we actually took the time to have opened that, we really realised that actually there's not much space in it. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but then we haven't got any space for anything. It's been a bit of a nightmare. Another
thing again that comes in with the negotiating for a new build especially are like your plugs. For example, if you have a garage, you can put plugs inside the garage, or you can put plugs outside of the house. You can have a tap installed outside of the house. All of these are normally at an extra cost, guys. They will try and get every penny you have for extra things. In our situation, a lady had purchased this house before. She had all of those things already added, and the sale of her house fell through, so she could no longer buy this property. So for us, we already had those things in, but had we not, they've been a saving grace having a tap outside. It would have been a pain in the arse to cut the lawn if we didn't have a plug outside. So those are things you can definitely negotiate in.
But these additions are really expensive. They make money on the additions, so you've got to work hard to get them included.
Yeah.
So if you say, look, I want that carpet, like we didn't go with them for the carpet because it was so expensive, and then we got a carpet that was half the price, including installation. Whereas if you can persuade them to throw it in, it works out much better value. And one thing that got us, and maybe it wasn't asking the question, or maybe we missed it, but the walls in the lounge weren't reinforced enough to have a TV mounted on it. So talking to some of our neighbours, they asked a question and they got their walls reinforced by the builder before they moved in. Whereas when we wanted to put our TV on the wall, we had to get an external builder to come in, knock the wall through, basically put extra structures in there to do it, and it was a pain. Whereas our neighbours got it done.
Yeah, so beforehand. You can, like you say, you can get that done as the house is being built. So if you're looking around it and it's a building site, you can say, look, I'm going to want a TV on there. Can you put some extra structure in there for it to be held up? Because we just used, and again, you're not going to know this if you've never bought a house before. If you've been living with mum and dad, you don't worry about stuff like this. Mum and dad deals with that, right? So the first time buying a house, this was my first time buying a house. Sean lived in a property before, and we've just always had TVs on cabinets. That's just where TVs have gone, right? But it's just things to think about, things like that you can think about whilst it's being built. Ask for that stuff, because you might find that they might not ask for an additional fee. I don't know if they've got charged for that. I think as it's being built,
that's what we want, so they did it.
Yeah, they can do it. So again, it's stuff to know.
It's very easy to do it whilst you're building the house. Yeah, it's just
pain in the arse.
Afterwards, you have to go through the wall and then get it redone.
Yeah. So. And that leads us perfectly onto the internet box, which I'll let you talk about because I don't really understand.
Yeah, so the internet box is in a real strange place. As you come in our front door, it's just on the left at the bottom.
It's behind the door, isn't it?
To have the internet box there, you can't even open the door, so it's ridiculous. So our best workaround was to get the builder put basically a hole through the wall, put the cable through, so it's in our kitchen. But it means there's a lot of stuff in the way, so the internet's not very strong up here. And we have got the strongest possible internet we've got with Sky. It's always dropping out in my office, it's always cutting out, it's not very strong. And again, maybe our neighbours are just cleverer than us, but they knew this beforehand, and he got it basically rewired, so his wireless box and his internet box is in his room in the office, so it gives much better coverage of the whole house.
So the next one we've got is our wardrobes. Now our wardrobes come in 2 of the bedrooms. They're built-in wardrobes with 2 little doors. They've got a shelf and a hanging rack, and that is it. I probably would have, again, if we were early enough within the build, I would have seen if there was anything else that could have been done with the layout in that. As well as our cupboard in the upstairs landing, we actually had shelves put in by my brother-in-law to create more space for towels and bedding and stuff. But again, I probably would have asked the builders to do that at an earlier stage had we had the opportunity.
One other thing that I wish I did, moving from a flat, I didn't have this issue before, and this does count for whether you're going into a new build or just in general, just slightly different, is the garden. Our garden was an absolute nightmare. It just stopped growing, it died straight away. Luckily, everybody's on the estate died straight away, so everybody complained and the builders came in and re-turfed it. But if I was to move into a new build again, I would take a sample of the soil, because it was just brick, it was glass, it was crap. Take the sample of soil and it's full of crap, then it won't grow, complain. But also on the other side of it, if I was moving into not a new build, just to a regular house, I would still do a lot more research on a garden if I've never had one. It is a lot more complicated than you think. Just little things like you leave the leaves in the autumn. If you leave them long enough, it kills the grass. And there's rules on how and when to mow the lawn and how to keep it going. We learnt a lot. We got leather jackets, which nearly killed 3/4 of the lawn, so we had to sort that out. A lot of these things could be sorted if we did a bit of research and we knew a bit more about gardens. Because it's a much harder thing than you think.
Yeah.
Do a bit of research on your garden.
Definitely. So that is the end of that video, guys. I hope it's been helpful in some way. Like I say, this is just kind of based on our own experiences, our own little regrets and things that we wish we kind of did differently. But yeah, that is it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.